Hi guys, so I'm going to read Tales to Astonish number 38. So this is the first appearance of Egghead, who, before Ultron was Ant-Man's archenemy, Egghead was. He's kind of a silly villain. There is a Batman villain called Egghead from DC, but he doesn't have anything to do with this one. That one's a lot more like pun related and that, but yeah, so Tales to Astonish. You're hopelessly stuck to that fly paper, Ant-Man. Your own ants have led you into my trap. Surprise follows surprise as the desperate Ant-Man seems to be betrayed by the ants. Starring Ant-Man, the most astonishing hero in comics. The Astonishing Ant-Man, betrayed by the ants. Plot Stan Lee, script Larry Lieber, art Jack Kirby. Inking Dick Ayers, lettering Johnny D. Since the appearance of the amazing Ant-Man, the bustling metropolis has offered slim pickings for the underworld. And so,
I tell you, if we don't get rid of Ant-Man soon, we'll starve to death. We haven't dared pull a robbery in weeks.
We gotta find a way to stop Ant-Man, to make sure this town is safe for crime.
Stop him, sure. But how? Brute force ain't the answer. Every time we've tried it, he's beaten us.
Brains, that's the answer. It'll take brains to lick the Ant-Man.
And at that moment, in Washington, D.C., fate prepares to take a hand in our grim drama.
Why do they have on the carpet in there?
That scientist, the guy they call the Egghead. They suspect him of trying to put one over on Uncle Sam.
It has been rumored that you attempted to sell secret atomic information to the highest foreign bidder.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Nothing. To a genius like me, your insipid patriotic ramblings are laughable. I sneer at you all. Anyway, you're just talking. You've got no proof, and you know it.
As a scientist, you may be brilliant, but as a man, you're beneath contempt. You're fired. You'll never work for the government again.
Go on, get out of here.
And the following day,
say, this Egghead character, he's our answer.
Sure, if anyone can outfox the Ant-Man, he can. He's all brain.
But will he work outside the law?
Sure, just make the price right.
And so contact is made, terms are agreed upon, and an unholy alliance is born.
10 G's now, and the rest when you've defeated the Ant-Man.
Agreed.
With cold scientific precision, the man called Egghead embarks upon his evil task. Oh yeah, and another thing, I gotta do Ant-Man's voice differently. Someone said in the comments to make him have like a more squeaky voice. That was like it was done in the 1970s Fantastic Four radio show. I wasn't familiar with that. Apparently I'm gonna go on a bit of tangent, but that came out in 1975. It was like a radio program. It was like 13 episodes. And it's kind of just like what I was doing, like what I'm doing, like with Fantastic Fours. Same stories. It's obviously much better voice acted, but with that one, and apparently Bill Murray, like a young Bill Murray, voiced the Human Torch on that show. I was completely unaware of that, but yeah, I wish that did get more episodes because it was very, from what I've listened to, it is very excellent. And it could have been even adapted into an animated format. I know there was a new there were four animated Fantastic Four shows. But, and there was one around there called New Fantastic Four. Back in 1978, there was another series. But anyway, I don't know if I just said,
These documentary films show that the Ant-Man is constantly aided by his insect allies. Without them, he will be far less dangerous to his foes. And since he works with ants, he must have some method of communicating with them. If I could learn to do the same thing, I might defeat the Ant-Man by turning his own insects against him. Ants are unable to utter sounds, and they don't use sign language. The only way that they can communicate is by electronic signals through their antenna. All I have to do is determine what their electronic wavelength is, and I can tune in on them, as the Ant-Man does. I think I'm getting it.
Finally,
There, my machine is finished. Now I'm ready to invade the Ant-Man's own domain.
later, on the outskirts of town,
Perfect. A large anthill in a lonely field. I'll be able to work undisturbed. Once I communicate with the insects, they relay my message on to others. Soon, there won't be an insect in this county still loyal to the Ant-Man.
with the machine translating his words into electronic wave impulses, Egghead speaks to the ant colony.
I am your friend. I have come to free you from the Ant-Man's rule. Help me to capture him, and then you shall be the masters, and he the slave. Listen carefully to my instructions. Tell the Ant-Man that thieves are planning to steal the Wentworth necklace from the museum Thursday night. There will be lookouts posted to warn them of the police. Only the Ant-Man can get past the lookouts and capture the thieves red-handed. When the Ant-Man falls for the bait, lead him to the museum. Have him enter through an open window, where I shall be waiting for him, waiting with fly paper. Remember, betray the Ant-Man, and I will free you from his domination. Then you will be his masters, and he will serve you for the rest of his days. You shall give the orders, for you are his superiors. The first phase of my plan is over. The ants will not be able to resist the temptation I have offered, for I have appealed to their greed and their vanity.
Later,
And when he enters the museum, I'll be waiting with fly paper. He'll soon find himself as helpless as those insects.
Egghead, you're a genius.
You can't miss.
We'll snatch the Wentworth necklace and capture the Ant-Man at the same time.
when Thursday evening arrives, the second phase of the master plan is put into effect.
Careful. Don't trip the burglar alarm.
Steady, steady.
500,000 in sparklers. What a haul.
Outside, a souped-up getaway car stands ready.
I hope Egghead's scheme works. The Ant-Man is pretty smart himself.
Suddenly, a platoon of tiny figures steal onto the scene.
Everything is ready. The ants are leading him into my trap, like a sheep going to the slaughter.
The seconds pass slowly, tensely, as the tiny costumed figure comes closer and closer to his date with destiny.
He'll be within range of my bellows in another 2 seconds. No! Ha! A perfect hit. He's falling right into the box, which I lined with fly paper. How does it feel, Ant-Man? You've been betrayed by your own ants. Now struggle. Let me watch your helpless efforts to escape the sticky fly paper.
But then, to Egghead's utter astonishment,
Is this what you want?
You're rising to your feet. The paper isn't sticking to you. Why?
That's my secret, mister.
and then, in a half-crouching position, the Ant-Man presses a tiny button on his boot.
I don't understand. Why doesn't it stick to you? What are you doing now?
I'm triggering a little invention of mine. It's an electronically controlled spring, and it works like this.
Spoing. Is it over? Did you capture the Ant-Man?
No, you don't. Can't you see I failed? You tried to keep him here until I can think of another plan.
Look, there he is. Blast, I missed him.
He's racing towards that suit of armor.
I'll swat him like a fly and then... Pshing, boing. Ah, my hand!
Pressing another electronic button, the Ant-Man draws the springs up into his boots again and locks them there temporarily.
You blamed insect! I'll grind you to dust!
Not a chance, loudmouth. See this lasso? It's made of a nylon fiber, which is practically unbreakable.
Egghead, help! Where did that phony run off to?
How could any guy that tiny be strong enough to spin a full-grown man around? They don't know that, even though...
I don't know, because he's talking in his head. They don't know that even though I shrink down to ant size, I still retain all the normal strength of a normal human.
Never mind how Ant-Man's strong. We still gotta silence him before he can get to the cops.
It shouldn't be hard to beat him now that his ants have deserted him.
But while the mobsters continue their frantic search,
That's right, my little friends. Bring the sheet closer. Closer. Now drop it, now!
Hey, look out! The ants dropped a flypaper sheet on us. But why? I thought they were on our side. Can't get free, we're trapped.
Now we'll see how you jokers like the feel of flypaper.
realizing that their caper has failed, the remaining gangsters who had been waiting outside suddenly turned tail and...
That does it. I'm lambing out of here.
Wait for me. I ain't tangling with Ant-Man. No, sir.
But when they frantically reached the car...
The tires, they're all flat.
And someone swiped the ignition key. But how?
I was here all the time.
Sirens.
It's the cops. Run for it.
Moments later, we rounded up most of them. We'll pick up the others later.
Egghead had a shrewd plan, but he made one mistake. He misunderstood the psychology of ants. He didn't know that the ants do not consider themselves my helpless slaves. They regarded themselves as my friends and my partners in the war against crime. Egghead tried to appeal to their sense of greed, of vanity, but insects have no such emotions. Unfortunately, it is only we humans who possess such primitive traits. My little allies told me Egghead's entire plot, and I decided to turn the tables on the plotter himself. I walked into his trap, but unknown to him, I was prepared for it.
So that's what happened.
Before I came here, I covered myself with a special oily chemical that made it impossible for flypaper to stick on me. Then, when I arrived at the museum, I let the air out of the tires of the getaway car. Whoosh! And while I was inside, battling the thieves, my silent little partners took the key from the car's ignition. And by the time we got here, it was all over. The only thing that went wrong was that Egghead escaped during the battle.
I wouldn't worry about him. His underworld partners wouldn't be too happy about the way things turned out. If we don't get him first, they will.
And thus the once brilliant atomic scientist ends up wanted by the police and hunted by the underworld as he holes up in a dingy, Bowery flophouse.
The ants defeated me. They were too smart for me. Too smart.
Who's he?
Don't know, but he's been muttering to himself ever since he came here. Something about the ants.
Ants? Guy must be loco.
That's what I figure. He's probably just some worthless bum without a brain in his head.
And the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.